Hey, if you've hung around in our world for any amount of time, and by our world, I mean the Cornerstone world, in our Do Life Together community, you've probably heard me talk about the momentum reset. And when I talk about it, there's just a certain amount of electricity and energy that comes with it, because I know what happens when people invest that time in themselves and in their businesses and in their lives. And so I'm just curious today for you. Like, where is your momentum taking you right now? Because the reality is that in life, we are all building our lives day by day with very similar habits or patterns. We may drive the same way to work. We may make dinner the same nights of the week, or maybe you make dinner every night because I believe in leftovers, just so we're clear, because y'all know I don't like the kitchen. Um, but maybe you drive the same way to work, you wake up the same way each morning, and you walk through patterns or habits or different things that you have stacked right in ways, and those are all really wonderful things, but all of those things are taking you somewhere. And the slightest shift, right, the shift to stop that morning walk when it gets too hot outside, or the shift to swing by the ice cream store when it gets warm outside and that seems like a fun summer treat, those shifts begin to take you in a little bit of a different direction, right? The abandonment of the walk because it's too hot outside, followed by the weekly visits to the ice cream store because it's a fun, Saturday evening activity, right, with the kids or with the family. Those two things combined actually changes the amount of movement that your body's getting, as well as the caloric intake that you're taking in. And those two shifts alone could have your body feeling and looking very differently by the end of the summer. Plus, if your body responds to dairy like mine does, like you're probably not feeling that great, which means it changed your sleep patterns, which means it changed the way that I felt when I woke up, and so on and so forth. And so in life, we are constantly making shifts or adjustments, some of which we haven't chosen. Sometimes life happens to us. Maybe you're caring for aging parents. Maybe you have a new baby, and things just start to shift. And when that happens, the momentum shifts too, and you end up heading in a new direction. And so if you've spent any time around the momentum reset, you've heard me say, I have never been on a float trip. Now, for some of you who live in other parts of the world, you're like, so who cares? But for those of us in the Midwest, it's kind of a thing, okay? And I still have never been on a float trip. Some of you come to class and say you're going to take me, but I'm still here. I have a lot of thoughts about a float trip and why I don't go on a float trip. However, it is possible that that will happen someday, just so we're clear. However, one of the things that I want you to think about is just like when you're on the float trip, you drive your vehicle upstream, so I've heard, and you get in the river, and then you ride the river or the current downstream, right? And depending on what time of day you get in the river, that will tell you how many people are going to be there. Depending on how much weight is in your raft, like maybe you have to have a whole separate raft for all your snacks and your dry goods that you want to keep dry, right? Depending on whether or not you brought enough sunscreen, depending on the number of crazy people that are around you, will depend on how long it takes you to get to the end of the river and get back into your car and go home into the air conditioning and the safety of all of the things that we have in our homes, right? And so I share that with you because in life, we are all doing that, right? Whether it's a float trip for you or whatever that is, there is momentum that is happening in our life based on the choices that we're making consistently. And so one of the things when people ask me about, like, Dawn, why are you so passionate about this? Like, what really happens there? I have personally lived, but also now been gifted to see the life change that happens when people invest the time that is needed to make intentional decisions around what those habits are going to look like over the next 12 or 13 weeks. And when you get into alignment with who you are and you make and take and set aside time to make and take intentional steps that you plan to walk out, followed by some healthy accountability for somebody to ask you how that's going and help you stay on track, you will find yourself in momentum that's heading in a direction you maybe never thought you could get. And so that is why I get excited about the momentum reset. Whether you're excited about that or not today, one of the things I want to invite you to do is do give some consideration to What are some of those subtle shifts? What are those things that maybe if you just turned a little this way or a little back this way would take you potentially in the direction that you want to go? Because it's these slight shifts and these slight adjustments in our lives that make the world of difference. And so just ask you today, where's your momentum taking you? And can I just say, if it's not taking you where you want to go, and you're looking to have a conversation about that, I would be happy to do that. And I would love the opportunity to do that and be gifted to be trusted with that. We can do that in a variety of ways, many of which you'll find in the email or in the social post below. But ultimately, I just hope that you know that if your momentum is not taking you where you want to go, if you're not living your best life and getting to the places that you want to go, it may not be as hard as you think that it is. And you probably don't need more information. You just need the skill set and the ability to just make some subtle adjustments in your life and then do that consistently over time. Thank you so much for doing life with me.